You have two choices and you need to make a decision right now. Make 4 simple strategy tweaks and get on the path to get promoted faster, massive salary increases, and getting the praise you deserve. Or continue to follow the bad advice of working hard, burning yourself out, and waiting for your turn for career advancement. Which would you prefer? I knew it would be the first one. Let's talk about the first thing that you need to do, and that is to figure out what you want.
Jennifer, this is so obvious.
Maybe it is. Maybe you're already crystal clear on what you want in your career and in your life, in which case you have a head start, my career bestie. But if you're like most of the professionals that I work with, it probably goes a little bit more like this. I want to get to the next level. What is the next level? At worst, you might be lying to yourself about what you want and focusing on what others want for you. Perhaps your parents raised you with certain expectations. Or you feel pressure from friends or former classmates to follow a particular career path. Or maybe you're just doing what you think makes sense. For example, if you've been in sales for a while, you might think that it makes more sense to proceed into sales leadership even though you hate sales and you can't imagine spending the rest of your life selling things. You can also be limiting yourself and holding yourself back from what you really want in your career based on what you think is available to you. This is one I see all the time. Chad's up for the promotion ahead of me, as though you're standing in a queue waiting to pay for your groceries. Ugh, I can never get hired at Google, which you use to stop yourself from applying to a job, let alone maybe networking your way into a job offer. It's for all of these reasons that too often you're lying to yourself about what you really want from your career, leaving you completely in the dark about what you really want, which feels like something is wrong that you just can't put your finger on and describe. Have you ever felt that way? If you have, today we're gonna start fixing it. For starters, we need you to own up to what you really want, and we'll trick your brain into admitting it. First, grab a piece of paper or pen or open up the Notes app on your phone, whichever one you prefer. Because I'm about to ask you a question, and without even thinking about it, let alone judging yourself for it, you're going to write down the very first thing that comes to mind. I'm about to ask a question, and you can pause when I'm done, because whatever comes to mind immediately is your answer. Ready? Here we go. If your success was guaranteed, there was no way you can fail, what would you want? So, what's your answer? Do you want to be promoted into a people leadership position? Transfer from the product team into marketing? Do you want to quit your job and earn an MBA? Now, there is a chance that whatever came to mind immediately that you wrote down might have surprised you a little. This instinctual and automatic answer is your most likely path to success, happiness, and fulfillment, both personally and professionally. But what if you think your answer is something that's really out there? And I do get this pushback sometimes when I ask this question.
Well, I said I want to be a rock star, but I'm tone deaf and I don't know how to play any instruments.
And others to that effect. I will tell you that there have been times where my tone deaf, non-instrument playing self did want to be in a band. At one point in my life, I genuinely was interested in becoming a top secret spy. Of course I'm not, that I can tell you about. And at one point in my life, I even considered going to medical school, which sounds normal until you remember the fact that my degree is in criminology. In my experience, when the answer is somewhat of a snarky answer, like saying you want to be a rock star, it's a self-protective reflex because you don't feel worthy of the real answer. And we'll come back to that one in just a few minutes. Or maybe that snarky answer is in the realm of possibilities. And if you really look at it, perhaps it's hinting at something. Is there a path where that can make sense? For example, my momentary ambition to become a top secret spy wasn't completely outlandish given my area of study and the fact that I was a new graduate when I decided that that was a potential career path for me. However, if you're like most people, what you found through your automatic answer was something that is both feasible and attainable, assuming you're ready to admit it. Because it's one thing to know what you want and to be aware of it, but you need to do more than that. You need to accept it, and even more importantly, you need to give yourself permission to pursue what you want in your career. Too often, I see people write off their career goals and their career ambitions. I can never reach that level. People like me don't get hired there. You write yourself off because you don't want to play games that you don't think you'll win. But who says you won't win? That you won't get that promotion that you think Chad has dibs on, or that your dream company isn't going to offer you a job, or that you wouldn't get hired by your dream company if you pursued an application. There is a rule that I've observed in life and in your career, and that is no one will get in your way more than you will get in your own way. Instead of blocking yourself, you can choose to give yourself permission. Permission to talk to your boss about what it'll take for you to get that promotion to the next level, or permission to apply for that job that you never thought you would be able to get. That said, simply wanting something in your career doesn't mean it's going to happen. I can write down, I'm a best-selling author in my manifestation journal, all that I want. But if I don't do the work to become a best-selling author, like shamelessly promoting my career glow-up book, it's not gonna happen. Action is required to attain your desires. Which brings us to the second step to upgrade your career in the next 90 days. Be intentional. When you implement this step, you can go from being overlooked, being passed over for promotions, to highly visible, being praised by leadership, and having career opportunities handed to you. This is something that we can look to Chad and to Avery from my 5 workplace fill-ins video to learn, because this is something that they know very well. First, be intentional with your time. Treat it like it's the most precious resource that you have, because it is. And of course, we know by working hard, what we're really saying is working all the time doesn't work to get you ahead. We've talked about how being the person that everyone knows that they can go to for help, to dump their work on, is going to get in the way of your career advancement. And of course, we've also discussed how pointless it is to overachieve on everything when no one else notices. You have a limited amount of time. Spend it like it matters. This begins with knowing the biggest impact that you can make and being clear on what your unique awesomeness quotient, your UAQ, is. If you don't know it yet, you can download my free UAQ starter kit. Knowing the real priorities at your company also makes a big difference, and particularly how they intersect with your UAQ. Anything that isn't on those 2 lists are things that you should just meet expectations and move on. This also applies to how you spend your time on professional development and professional growth. You're here watching this video right now because you want to upgrade your career in the next 90 days. And if upgrading your career, whether that's getting a new job, getting a promotion, or just raising your visibility at work, is something that is truly important, I'm gonna tell you something that you're really not going to like. Watching free videos and using free resources online isn't going to do the trick. I'm not saying that you need to enroll in a $150,000 MBA program. For most people, that's not actually the best step to take. It's about understanding the priorities of your different growth areas and what resources you can use in order to get there faster, and even if you want to get there faster. I have a simple framework that I use personally, and I think it's really helpful. I'll put a deep dive over on my Instagram, and feel free to ask me about it in my AMA Wednesday. But here's some general principles to help you understand what resources you need, and that includes time and money. For low priorities and for skill expansions into brand new areas, this is where you want to get the most out of your freebies. Watching videos like this, reading blogs, or maybe even taking an open learning class. Medium priority is something that needs to happen within the next year in order for you to reach your career goals. Whether that's techniques, strategies, skills, it's where your investment is really going to start to have a payoff. At this level, I think books like my Career Glow Up book I just mentioned, workshops, and even mini courses can be extremely helpful. And finally, we have the high priority things, the things that you want to happen right away, that you refuse to wait for, and you're going to cut in line to make it happen. You're not going to wait around for the next 2 years while you figure it out on your own. Give me a shortcut. For things like this, courses, programs, and coaching are incredibly helpful. And to be clear, some of these things can cost thousands of dollars, but some of them are going to be much, much, much more accessible than that and still help you jump the line. The next thing that you need to bring a lot of intentionality to is your professional reputation. Highly successful professionals know that one of their most precious assets is their reputation. That is your personal brand. What do people say about you when you're not in the room? And it's actually a bigger problem if they're not talking about you at all, but that's a discussion we can have another day. Your reputation is going to precede you throughout your career. It will frame expectations about you, impact the opportunities that are presented to you or created for you, and it will heavily influence your compensation. That's right, this shows up in your bank account. Big time. For example, if you're known for being the best in your team or one of the best in your field, companies are going to know that they need to bring their most competitive offers and increases to get and keep your attention. Cultivate and protect your personal brand and your professional reputation with the attention it deserves. And the third thing you need to be highly intentional about to up-level your career in the next 90 days is how you show up at work. What vibe are you putting out to the world? This does include how you present yourself to the world. And no, I'm not talking about meeting antiquated standards of professional and unprofessional here. Because in my opinion, competency does not require a business suit, which if you've been hanging with me for a while is not going to surprise you at all. What I'm really asking here is, are you showing up confidently and are you showing up powerfully at work? Especially in those crucial moments that matter. Are you doing the things that the people in the positions that you want are doing? Are you prioritizing career advancing strategies like them? Are you investing in yourself like them? Are you creating the impression and reputation of having high potential to everyone around you like they are? And this actually brings us directly into the third step, because when you have this one in place, you can roll into any meeting in sweatpants and a stained t-shirt, and everyone would still stop when you spoke to pay attention. The third step to upgrade your career is to cultivate confidence. Do you want to know why Chad gets away with slacking off, having questionable competence in his job, and very little knowledge of what's going on around him? It's not just because the higher-ups like him, though that doesn't hurt, but that's also influenced by this. Chad has high confidence in himself. Chad doesn't question his ability. He believes in himself and his abilities, whether it's merited or not. Chad trusts himself to get things done, whether he will or not. Chad is not getting opportunities because he has demonstrated his competence. Chad is getting opportunities because he is confident at work, and confidence is contagious. The reverse is also true. Do you ever doubt yourself at work? Question if you have the right skills, abilities, or experience to take on that career advancing project. When you doubt yourself, the people you work with notice, including the people that are making decisions about whether you get that opportunity or not. Perhaps you express your concerns out loud, but most of the time, professionals don't do that. Typically, self-doubt is communicated subconsciously through body language, tone of voice, etc. In any event, whether it's subtle or overt, your lack of self-confidence will make others question you. And I know it's frustrating, so I want us to take a step up and think about it from a leadership perspective. Because if you want to be a leader, we need to start thinking like a leader too. If you were the boss, would you give a high visibility, high priority project to someone who wasn't sure if they had the ability to do it well, whom you constantly had to reassure, when if they fail, it would reflect poorly on you, potentially even impacting your job stability? Or would you trust the person who had high conviction that they could absolutely knock it out of the park, make you look good, make them look good, make the company look good, make everyone look awesome? The answer is simple. You are going to choose the person who is confident because it will make you more confident in them. Luckily, cultivating confidence at work is not as complicated as it sounds. It simply requires you to know yourself, your skills, and your potential. Because when you believe in yourself, your abilities, and your potential, and you trust yourself, your abilities, and your potential, everyone you work with, from your boss to your coworkers, is going to have that trust and confidence as well. If you have been struggling with confidence at work, do make sure that you are on my Career Bestie Insider list. I have something special planned just for my insiders coming really soon. Career confidence is not optional. Career confidence is essential for career success. As we've discussed, it can compensate for shortcomings and help you establish a reputation as a high potential employee, giving you the opportunities and benefits that status affords. Chad should not be the only one benefiting from it, is what I'm saying. Without confidence, especially in your potential, others are going to struggle to see it. Because how can you expect someone else to see potential in you that you don't see yourself? Which brings us to the fourth step to upgrade your career in the next 90 days. It's time for you to quiet quit the right way. Over the years, we've actually talked about this endlessly on my channel. We've talked about it in the context of being lazy at work. As lazy has typically been defined as a coworker who does the minimum that they need to get by and probably has some strong work-life boundaries. They're not willing to go the extra 100th mile. And that's exactly what quiet quitting is. I like to think about it as a throwback to a simpler time. And while there's a lot I would like to leave in our antiquated workplace culture of years before, there is something that we can learn from the time before smartphones. Before the always-on expectation at work. And when working hard didn't mean working all the time. And I am going to do a really deep dive video in the next few weeks on quiet quitting, exactly how to do it, and the biggest mistakes that people are making that are actually putting their jobs at risk, when instead they could be working less and advancing their careers. So make sure that you're subscribed with the notification bell if you're not already. But right now, I want to highlight a nuance that I haven't seen discussed that I actually talked to Newsweek about last week. Quiet quitting doesn't require that you opt out of career advancement or that you have to give up any career ambitions you have. In my opinion, quite the opposite. Quiet quitting is what is going to allow you to save time, energy, and effort on things that you're doing that aren't actually impacting your career positively or even negatively. You know, the tasks that you do that your boss never notices, that you get so frustrated that you're working all the time thanklessly. And when you figure out the difference of what just needs to be done so you don't get in trouble for it versus what is going to help raise your profile and advance your career, it's in the time that you save from leaning back on the things that are having zero impact on your career that is going to enable you to focus on the high visibility work that can help you accelerate your career while you work less, which can bring you more interesting work and a bigger paycheck. Who doesn't want that? Don't believe that it's possible? Well, your lazy coworkers are getting promoted all the time. Go and watch this video right now for some tactics you can steal from them right now.